Bonjour.
Bonjour. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us early this Wednesday morning, day 3 of the heat wave. I'm Lisa Rosenberg, Global President of Consumer Brands at Allison Worldwide, and I'm here with Christophe Poirier, the Chief Concept Officer for KFC. KFC is celebrating 75 years this year, but today's conversation isn't really about history. It's about how iconic brands stay relevant, how they evolve, how they innovate, and how they remain unmistakably themselves while consumer expectations continue to change. Over the course of Christophe's career, he has launched brands, built new concepts, led global innovation efforts, and helped shape the next chapter of one of the world's most recognizable brands. So today, we're going to talk about innovation, brand stewardship, and what it takes to keep a brand forever young. So my first question, Christophe, is you've spent much of your career building things that didn't exist before, whether that's launching entirely new concepts or driving innovation inside established brands. I want you to share with the group sort of the biggest lesson you've learned about innovation over the course of your career.
So, first of all, I appreciate it's never easy to be at, what time is it? 9 a.m., something like this, on a Wednesday, on day 3 in Cannes. So, you are the brave ones. So innovation, it does not start with answers. And it starts with courage, I would say, to start with something totally new, something that doesn't exist. And this is the first thing. The second thing is, in innovation, your best friend is failure. I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but you need to be at peace with maybe trying, attempting, and failing. But there is a good news with failing. It's because failure is probably the best teacher. When you are successful, you don't learn anything. You just said, okay, I did it, it worked, and I can move on. Failure. And when I say it has become, I try to make sure that I do not become codependent with failure, but I would say I have developed a good bonding with failure because I learned a lot, and I learned a lot with, and all the concept that has been successful, and I have done 3 so far, it has always been built on failure from the past. I used to love this quote from Picasso. Picasso used to paint in 15 minutes. So journalist said, oh, how is that? Picasso, you are painting in 15 minutes? And the answer was, no, it took me 80 years and 15 minutes to paint it. So I would say innovation, I should not disclose my age, but I am 54. So it's basically my journey. Yeah.
Is there a particular failure that sticks out in your career where you've really felt like you learned the most?
Yes, there was, I created an Asian concept and called Ban Shop. It used to be in the portfolio of Yum Brands is the biggest restaurant company in the world. And we have multi-brands. We have Taco Bell, we have KFC, we have Pizza Hut, but this particular Asian brand, I learned something. There was a cook in my team working in the kitchen, and he said, Christophe, listen to me. This is not going to work because this, and this. But my ego was bigger than probably my cook. And this item on the menu was definitely an epic failure. So what does it mean? Listen every feedback you receive. Feedback is a gift, and it does not have to come from the CEO, because the same comment from the CEO I would have potentially listened, but coming from the cook, I was thinking, he does not know what he's speaking about. So the point is, every single voice matters.
Okay. You said something when we were having our prep conversation that really stuck with me. You said that innovation starts by forgetting what everyone assumes to be true. I was hoping maybe you could expand on that just a little bit for the group.
So say it again.
So you said that innovation often starts by forgetting what everyone assumes to be true.
True. So, in fact, this is what I have noticed also in innovation. Give customers and guests what they want, but not what they expect. And there is a fine line because nobody is interested in the expected. People are interested in something that is totally breakthrough, but at the same time, it's a fine line because if it is totally off chart, sometimes being right too early is being wrong. So we always need to make sure that don't come with innovation before the wave. If it is after the wave, it's too late. Just make sure that you are ready to surf the wave when the wave is about to begin. So, and sometimes what people around you define as the truth, it is observation from the past or not necessarily totally true. So it's about surfing the wave, which is totally appropriate because I can see the sea from here.
No, absolutely. It feels particularly relevant when you think about leading a brand with 75 years of history. Now, you told me that your challenge isn't to reinvent KFC, but to keep KFC forever young. So I'd like you to share what you mean by that.
So a lot of time we speak about I remember when I started at KFC, it was all about the millennials. And I swear, each time I was hearing the word millennial, if I would get paid $10, my 401k will be in a much better position right now. And then it moved to Gen Zs. So right now, and now it's next gen. So it's all about speaking about chasing the audience. And I don't like to chase. I like to attract. The best way to attract customers is by staying forever young. And for a brand like KFC, 74 years old, it means that your new brand vis identity needs to be relevant and renewed and refreshed. The menu. So we were famous for the Colonel Sanders started KFC with chicken on the bone and finger licking good. In fact, how we can stay forever young. Right now, we are focusing on boneless, tenders, nuggets, and sauces, because this is where customer expectations are. But staying forever young means our DNA was about finger licking good, which is the ultimate expression of craving. And we stay forever young when we keep true to our DNA, which is finger licking good. So the challenge for us is we were finger licking good 74 years ago. How do we remain finger licking good in 2026? So this is, I would say, the red thread. This is the line that we follow. And of course, we stay true on culture. KFC is probably one of the best brands where we're on culture, from Tokyo to Kuala Lumpur to Brazil and everywhere in between.
So the philosophy is particularly relevant when you think about what KFC is undergoing right now. You've just introduced a major evolution of the brand. Can you walk us through what that entails, what that looks like, what is changing, and what was the thinking behind it?
So it always starts with a change of symbol. And our founder, KFC, we had, I think every 7 years, 8 years, we have a new brand vis identity coming. But it will be totally empty if we were focusing exclusively on changing the logo. So I insist on this new brand visual identity is a symbol of change, and then we need to give reasons to believe for the symbol of change. So people have never eaten, our guests have never eaten any logo. They come to visit KFC to eat our beautiful food. So our menu is evolving. We started with a bucket of chicken, a chicken on the bone, and now we are evolving with boneless, chicken sandwich, tenders, nuggets, and sauces. And why sauces is because customers are looking for variety. But it does not stop there. as I said, what is in our DNA is cravings. So we are developing a new range of drinks and beverages. It's very important for us because people drink, it's a very simple insight. I always try to keep it simple, by the way. People drink more often than they eat, and people also are now taking their calories from the drinks. So, which means that for us it was an obvious path to be on drinks and beverages. But we did it the KFC way. So, which means that we always put our pixie dust and we always put our magic when we are creating a new menu platform like drinks. The second point is new assets. We are developing a new generation, the next generation of assets, physical assets. Assets that are more immersive, more kinetic, and physical assets that are matching the digital assets. And why it is so important is because in 2026, if you look at an Instagram page for any brand or a TikTok page for any brand, you can see that most of the time, the physical assets are not matching the promise of the digital assets. It's quite new because in the past, physical assets were much more advanced than digital. But now the challenge that we are facing is we want to make sure that our physical assets are extremely immersive. And immersive can be a little bit obscure, but if I have to give you one analogy, the inspiration we have for assets came from the Sphere in Vegas. So you are not attending, you are not watching a movie when you go to the Sphere. You are not attending a concert. You are part of the experience. And this is a promise of the new assets that we are developing at KFC.
Well, you've done a beautiful job with the evolution of the logo and sort of inviting everyone into the KFC world. Do you want to just share a little bit about the bucket verse and what that stands for and what that means for consumers?
So first, when you work on when you are refreshing a logo, and I have one of my best friends. She's a CEO of a brand where we had some controversy in the US. I will not name that brand, but I feel for her because the entire social sphere was commenting. So, as you can imagine, when you are refreshing when you are developing a new brand with idea, it's always a fine line. How do you keep your core audience that loves you for decades and that has been loyal to your brand? And also, how can you also be relevant and distinctive with the new generation? So that's one. And knowing that we cannot lose consistency, because at KFC, we open a restaurant every 3.5 hours. So today, when we go to bed, probably after a nice party at Cannes, KFC will open 8 restaurants around the world. So consistency, being coherent, cohesive is very important. But this symbol of change was extremely important because I call it a landmark. I call it a pivot moment for the brand. It's a sort of a kickoff for, okay, now it's time to continue to transform, continue to evolve. And working with one of my favorite recipes, which is disruption. I know it's something we have in common. We have some disruption background, you and I.
No, absolutely. When I think about all the changes that the brand is undergoing, when you think about putting all of that together, is there an underlying consumer truth that sort of sits beneath there that drove some of the thinking?
Yes. The consumer truth is we are one of the most recognized and, more importantly, one of the most loved brands around the world. We cannot operate 34,000 restaurants around the world, almost 24/7, without being loved. So when you are loved, in fact, it's like Spider-Man says, freedom comes with responsibility, love comes with a responsibility. And our customers say, you know what, we love you, but make sure that you are not aging. Make sure that you are not becoming one day older. Make sure that you keep us, keep the flame, keep the affair alive. So the insight is always, we always have in mind our, what we call our UFO, heavy users, frequently users. And I would say the guests that really love us. And we don't want to disappoint this love that our customers have with us. So this is how we operate when each time we come with a breakthrough innovation. And a new brand with identity is definitely something very risky because Gap tried. I mean, I can give you a bunch of brands, but I tried to change the logo where it was not loved at all by the fans. So we are taking very much care of our fandom.
That's terrific. I want to sort of level us up a little bit. You've done a tremendous amount of work. I know disruption is a principle you subscribe to. You've driven a lot of innovations throughout your career, and a lot of people do try to drive innovation within their own organizations. And when you look at large organizations, sometimes innovation is a challenge. Is there sort of one thing or one piece of advice you learned early in your career that you'd wish you'd known, now?
So culture in the company plays a big role. And I am very blessed and fortunate to work at KFC, where our culture is smart with heart and courage, which means IQ, it's not IQ or EQ, it's both. And it's also about courage. And I will answer to your question, but why is it so important? I was blessed at Yum, because Yum is the mother company of KFC. At KFC, I was given the challenge to come with a disruptive concept. And sometimes you need to have a courageous conversation with the CEO, saying the environment we are operating in the company does not allow us to come with a disruptive innovation. And he asked me, why do you say that? I said, because in a company, when you have frameworks, consultants, it is screaming incremental. And incremental is the enemy of disruption. So I had this conversation with the CEO, and his name is David Gibbs, and also the CFO. And I asked them, are you really serious about the mandate that you give me? They said, of course we are serious. I said, okay, 3 things. 1, innovation requires money. And when I say money, it's not nickel and dime, it's serious money. So make sure that 1, innovation is a big project. 2nd, I only want to deal with people who have the power to say yes. Big corporations are full of people with the power to say no. When you have the power to say no, you don't take any risk. When you have the power to say yes, you take a big risk. Think about the gentleman who came at Blockbuster. He came with the idea of Netflix. It was killed by a committee saying no. Think about the gentleman or the woman who came with digital films at Kodak. It was killed by a committee. So a committee by design says no. And when you are not dealing with the people who have the power to say yes, you go nowhere. And third, I truly believe that the best breakthrough innovation comes from outside the building. So my third question was, we have money, I want to report to someone who has the power to say yes, and I want to operate with a team. I want to outsource everything. I will work with freelancers, designers, consultants that are totally external to the company. Because this is the best way to make sure that, and I say it in a respectful way, but you are not polluted by incremental thinking that is staying in the big corporation. Corporations are based on control, audit, process, committee. And when you start something, the first thing is, let's set up a steering committee. And my definition of a steering committee is a camel is a horse designed by a committee. So if you want to innovate, if you want to make disruption, stay away from the corporate BS.
So I love that. Stay away from committees, report to someone who has the power to say yes, and good news for everyone who works at an agency like I do, you're hiring, right? There's the takeaway.
Love it.
So
maybe, look, when I'm in France, sometimes I'm becoming too French and too blunt. So if there are some US or English folks in the audience, forgive me. My French DNA is back, and maybe I'm too direct or too provocative, but it's really how it works, in my opinion, through disruption.
All right, I have one last question for you before we run out of time. And I want you to think about when you eventually decide to leave the brand to your successor, what would make you feel like you've done your job well?
I will make sure that I inspire and galvanize people to take more risk, and more importantly, to accept failure. I will give you one paradox. In 21 years, I have been rated many times. We have a performance review every year. And I have been rated opportunity, which means I did not I did not achieve my target. I missed 5 times, and I still got promoted. And in fact, the learning is in life, in professional life, make sure that you turn lemons into lemonades. And each time I have been rated below my target, in fact, I have always turned it into a positive. So to the lady or to the gentleman taking my job, I would say, you know what? Play to win. Don't play to avoid to lose, and you're gonna be okay. And make sure that you return to the favor to the guy after you. So take risk, play to win. And because life is too short to get bored. So
I love that. You can score below your target and still advance and still exceed. And that's probably one of the things that has driven you to push the brands that you work on and to achieve what other people can't see.
Amen, amen, amen to that.
So that's terrific. Well, thank you very much for the time this morning.
You're the sweetest artist.
And for sharing all your thoughts with everyone.
Oh, thank you, guys.